Lady Bird exposed, the controversial side of a First Lady. Lady Bird Johnson, born Claudia Alta Taylor on December 22, 1912, was an influential figure in American politics as the First Lady of the United States from 1963 to 1969. While often remembered for her role alongside President Lyndon B. Johnson, her own contributions to society, politics, and environmental conservation are noteworthy. This video explores 11 notable aspects of Lady Bird Johnson's life, offering a multifaceted view of this remarkable woman. Fact number 1. Early life and education. Claudia Alta Taylor, who later became known as Lady Bird Johnson, was born on December 22, 1912, in Karnak, Texas. She earned the nickname Lady Bird as a child, a name given by her nursemaid who said she was as putty as a ladybird. This endearing nickname stuck with her for the rest of her life. Demonstrating an early interest in education and the arts, Lady Bird attended the University of Texas at Austin, where she received a Bachelor of Arts degree in history in 1933, followed by a journalism degree in 1934. Her time at the university not only equipped her with educational prowess but also laid the groundwork for her future roles in communication and public life. Number 2. Marriage to Lyndon B. Johnson. Lady Bird met Lyndon Baines Johnson, a young congressional aide at the time, in 1934. Their meeting took place in Austin, Texas, and they quickly formed a connection. Just weeks after their first meeting, on November 17, 1934, they married in San Antonio, Texas. Their marriage was more than a romantic union, it was a partnership that intertwined love with political ambition. Lady Bird played an instrumental role in Lyndon's political career, right from his early days in Congress to his tenure as the President of the United States. She actively participated in his political campaigns, offering not just support but also valuable advice and insights, thereby becoming an integral part of his political journey. Number 3. Personal tragedies and resilience. Lady Bird Johnson's life was marked by personal resilience in the face of tragedy. The most poignant of these was the loss of her mother, Minnie Patillo Taylor, who died in a fall at their home when Lady Bird was only 5 years old, in 1918. This tragic event profoundly impacted her childhood, shaping her early years and contributing to her strength and resilience. The absence of her mother at such a tender age required Lady Bird to navigate her formative years under the care of her father, Thomas Jefferson Taylor, and her Aunt Effie Patillo, who played a significant role in her upbringing. Despite this early loss, Lady Bird grew into a strong, educated woman, known for her grace and perseverance in the face of life's challenges. Number 4. Support after John F. Kennedy's assassination. On November 22, 1963, following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas, Lady Bird Johnson found herself in a position of providing support and comfort to the grieving nation, and particularly to Jacqueline Kennedy and her children, Caroline and John Jr. Lady Bird, along with her husband, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, were immediately sworn in and took on their new roles in the aftermath of this national tragedy. She played a significant part in the funeral arrangements for President Kennedy and was a pillar of support for Jacqueline during this period. Her presence and assistance, including accompanying Jacqueline Kennedy to the funeral and participating in various memorial services, showcased her empathy and leadership during one of America's darkest hours. Number 5. Business ventures. Before becoming First Lady, Lady Bird Johnson was a successful businesswoman. In 1943, she invested in a small Austin radio station, KTBC, using a portion of a modest inheritance. Under her management, the station became highly profitable, and it was the beginning of the Johnson family's media business, which later expanded to include a television station, KTBC-TV, in 1952. Her business ventures played a crucial role in augmenting the family's wealth, which in turn supported Lyndon B. Johnson's early political campaigns, including his run for the U.S. Senate. Lady Bird's acumen in managing and growing these business interests demonstrated her skill and independence in an era when few women held such roles. Number 6. Advocacy during turbulent times. During the 1960s, Lady Bird Johnson championed beautification and conservation efforts as part of her role as First Lady. She was particularly passionate about the Highway Beautification Act, which sought to control outdoor advertising and preserve natural landscapes along America's highways. However, her focus on these issues sometimes drew criticism, especially given the turbulent social and political climate of the 1960s, marked by the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement. Critics argued that her beautification projects, while commendable, seemed disconnected from the more pressing and immediate concerns of the time. Despite these criticisms, Lady Bird remained steadfast in her belief that improving the physical environment could have a positive impact on the nation's morale and quality of life. Number 7. Handling of Vietnam War protests. During Lady Bird Johnson's tenure as First Lady, the United States was deeply embroiled in the Vietnam War, particularly in the late 1960s. Her role during this period was challenging, as she navigated the complexities of being a supportive wife and First Lady amidst increasing national division and unrest. Lady Bird was known to have private reservations about the war, yet she publicly supported President Lyndon B. Johnson's policies. This stance led to criticism and made her a target of anti-war protests. For instance, during public appearances and speeches, she often faced protesters who opposed the war. Her responses to these protests, sometimes perceived as dismissive or overly defensive of the administration's policies, further fueled criticism from those who opposed the war and sought a more empathetic acknowledgement of their dissent. Number 8. Response to feminist movement. The 1960s also saw the rise of the feminist movement, advocating for women's rights and equality. Lady Bird Johnson, with her background as a successful businesswoman, held a somewhat traditional view of her role as First Lady. While she made significant contributions in her own right, her approach was often seen as embodying traditional female roles, which led to criticism from contemporary feminists. Her reluctance to publicly align with the feminist movement of the time, despite being a professional and politically active woman, was a point of contention. Women's rights advocates hoped for a more active endorsement of feminist causes from her, given her influential position. Number 9. Advocacy for civil rights. In contrast to the criticism she faced, Lady Bird Johnson was a proactive advocate for civil rights. She played an active role in promoting the Civil Rights Act of 1964, a landmark piece of legislation that aimed to end segregation and discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. In a bold move, she embarked on a solo whistle-stop campaign tour through the southern states in October 1964, a region where these policies were particularly contentious. Despite facing hostility and resistance in many areas, Lady Bird persevered, advocating for the Act's passage and underscoring her commitment to civil rights and equality. This tour was significant not only for its political impact but also for demonstrating her personal courage and dedication to crucial social issues. Number 10. Life after the White House. Following her departure from the White House in January 1969, after her husband's presidency, Lady Bird Johnson remained actively engaged in environmental conservation efforts. In 1982, she founded the National Wildflower Research Center on a site near Austin, Texas. The center, dedicated to preserving and reintroducing native plants in planned landscapes, was a testament to her long-standing commitment to environmental stewardship. Reflecting her significant contributions, the center was renamed the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center in 1997. It has since become a leading organization in native plant research and conservation, continuing Lady Bird's vision of a more beautiful, sustainable environment. Number 11. Awards, Legacy, and Memory. Lady Bird Johnson, celebrated for her contributions to society, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1977 and the Congressional Gold Medal in 1988, acknowledging her work in environmental conservation, civil rights, and public service. She passed away on July 11, 2007, at the age of 94. Her legacy endures through her efforts in beautifying America, advocating for civil rights and education, and redefining the role of First Ladies. Her commitment to improving the nation's landscapes and her advocacy for social causes have left an indelible mark on American history.